Hello, this is Christy Schaefer with the Schaefer Home Team and Keller Williams. I'm coming to you today with my series on Did You Know? Did you know that one of the best kept secrets in real estate today is equity? Equity is the difference between what you owe on your home and the value it can sell for in the current market. And when you sell it, well, that's cash in your pocket. Today, I wanted to share with you 3 inspiring stories on the subject of equity. The first one's very personal to me because it's my story. When my husband and I first got married, we were little babies. We were in our 20s, and we had decided we were not going to rent. And living with mom and dad wasn't going to be an option any longer. That's what they said. So we went on to find a place to live, and in those days it didn't take us a whole lot to put down, but we found a condo in California for $70,000, and you're like, wait, I want that condo. Well, it's no longer $70,000 today. That was a long time ago. Side note: interest rates were 10% back then. Let that one sink in. But we bought our place for $70,000, and we lived in there for a year and a half, and we decided it was time for us to move from California to Colorado. And so when we sold that condo, the price had gone up to $100,000. So we walked away with $30,000 in equity. And we still had to pay a few things, but basically we were able to take that equity and put it on to our next home. And you know, we didn't make any more money in that year and a half. We honestly didn't save any money in that year and a half. It was the equity alone that allowed us to move up from a condo to a house and make those dreams happen. In 2012, I had a client who had come to me. He was recently divorced and he needed to buy a place. And so he bought a home in 2012, and in 2019, he reached out to me and he said, you know, it really is my dream to move to Arizona. And he says, I'm just not sure if I can make that happen. I'm now retired. I don't know if I can get a loan. And he had his concerns. So I said, well, how much do you owe on your place? And I gathered up all the comps. I went to his house and I sat down with him, and I pulled out a net sheet that said, we can sell for this price, and after you've paid off your current loan and all the expenses, this is what you'll net. And he began to cry. I mean, the tears started to well up in his eyes, and he said, how did this happen? And he was just so amazed at the number that was on that sheet. And I said, well, you paid your payment every month, and the market continued to rise. And so, long story short, he was able to sell his place and move to Arizona and pay cash for his next home, and still even had a little bit of money in his pocket. He closed in January 2020, and he sends me pictures all the time and tells me how grateful he is that he was able to make this move. And then also in 2019, I had a couple who had moved here from out of state, and we'd found a new build for them to buy. And there was a spec home, just a few homes left in the neighborhood, and they were able to purchase that in the fall of 2019. And in the summer of 2020, they reached out to me and they said, you know, because of some family things, we're gonna need to move back to the state where we came from. And they were prepared that they might have to bring money to the table, knowing that they hadn't lived in their home for very long to make this all happen. Well, at the end of the day, I'll bring it to the end of the story. They sold their home. They had $75,000 in equity. They didn't have to bring anything to the table. They were able to walk away with cash in their pocket. So I'm telling you this because we are in a market that is continuing to rise and rise very quickly. And you may not realize how much equity that you have in your home today. If you are curious, I would be glad to show you Doesn't mean you have to make a move today, but it would be good for you to know where do you stand and what's your equity. And if you have been renting, you don't own a home, but you like the sound of this equity thing, it's time to get in. It's not too late to build equity, and I would be glad to help you. So either way, give me a call, 720-320-8211, and let's see how equity can work for you. Thanks.